Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Cohn.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Judy Martz, the first and only woman to serve as Montana governor, has died.
Hailed as a pioneer in Montana politics, the 74-year-old Martz was battling pancreatic cancer when she passed away this morning in Butte.
Olympic medalist, a Miss Rodeo Montana, and a co-owner of a garbage disposal business in Butte, Judy Martz served a single term as governor from 2001 to 2004. A native of Big Timber, Martz competed as a speed skater in the 1964 Winter Olympics in Innsbruck, Austria. She competed in the 1,500-meter race. It was in 1995 Governor Mark Roscoe surprised nearly everyone in the state when he chose her to be his lieutenant governor, and together they won re-election on the Republican ticket in 1996. Martz then ran for governor in 2000. She won a close victory over Democrat Mark O'Keefe to become Montana's first female governor. As governor, Martz signed a major reform of Montana's state income taxes, cutting the top rate from 11% to 6.9%. She chose not to run for re-election. Now, outpourings of support came from both our state and nation's capital today. Governor Steve Bullock reflecting on Martz's legacy here in Montana, saying, quote, "While she'll always leave her mark in our history as a trailblazer for women, we will also remember the spirited enthusiasm she brought both in her service to Montanans and through her lifelong love for our state." Montana's junior Senator Steve Daines recanted the importance of a certain accessory. Judy was rarely seen without a pin of the humble turtle on her lapel and would often invoke a saying that embodied her fearlessness and courage. "Behold the turtle. He only moves forward when his neck's stuck out." Funeral arrangements for Governor Martz are still pending. In other news, a person of interest in the murders of 3 people in Lodgegrass this summer now charged with a shooting here in Billings. Q2's Asia Gore read through the charging documents to bring us those details. Asia.
Jay and Jeanelle, the charges filed today stem from a shooting in Billings about 2 weeks ago. 32-year-old Roderick Plentyhawk is charged with felony assault with a weapon. According to court documents, Plentyhawk pulled up in an alley near the intersection of 4th Avenue South and South 28th Street and began firing shots at the victim. The male victim was struck in the leg and he took off running. The victim later told officers he was shot at again that night near the intersection of St. John's and 11th Street West. Plentyhawk was the person of interest in the murders of 3 people at a home in Lodgegrass. He has never been charged with the murders, and the FBI says the investigation is ongoing. The house where the victims were killed was set on fire and burned to the ground days after the August murders. Plentyhawk is in custody at the Yellowstone County Jail. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks, Asia. A man on probation for sexual assault in Missoula, now accused of trying to rape a teenage girl right here in Billings. 44-year-old Mark William McGuire made his initial appearance in Yellowstone County Justice Court today. He's charged with 1 count of attempted sexual intercourse without consent. Billings police received a report Friday that a 16-year-old girl had been sexually assaulted. Officers spoke with the girl, who said she was babysitting and stepped outside for a moment. That's when she encountered McGuire, who was heavily intoxicated. The girl said McGuire approached and sexually assaulted her before she could push him off. When questioned by police, McGuire denied the allegations but said, quote, "I want this 15-year-old girl." He's held tonight at the Yellowstone County Jail. We now know the name of the 63-year-old man who was killed in a rollover crash west of Huntley Saturday afternoon. The Yellowstone County coroner identifies the victim as Richard Fuchs of Shepherd. Fuchs was a passenger in an eastbound Chevy pickup on Highway 312 Saturday when that truck veered off the road for an unknown reason and rolled several times. Both occupants, including a 39-year-old Billings man, were ejected from the truck. Neither was wearing a seatbelt. The driver was taken by helicopter to a Billings hospital. His condition is unknown. The Montana Highway Patrol says speed is considered a factor in the crash. Well, this Halloween, Montana Highway Patrol is handing out a treat while also keeping kids safe. MTN's Morgan Davies brings us the story.
Montana Highway Patrol is giving out these bags so your kids can be safe before heading out to trick or treat.
Put all your candy. The bright orange bags are perfect to make sure that your child is seen in the dark while they are out Halloween night.
This year, the Highway Patrol made these really nice Halloween bags that obviously double as a backpack and have handles on them. and they have nice reflective stripes on them, and they should be a good opportunity for kids to be safe while they're out collecting candy and walking around their dark neighborhoods.
Sergeant Barkus says another thing to be mindful of is the number of DUIs. They spike on Halloween night to about the same amount as MHP sees on New Year's Eve.
Halloween's probably equally as big, if not bigger, just in the amount of people that go out and celebrate and have a good time. And everybody should go out and celebrate and have a good time if they want to, but be smart, have a designated driver, and be cognizant that even a couple drinks is going to slow your reaction time.
And a slow reaction time will not help when there are princesses and superheroes running from house to house.
You always have to look both ways, probably twice on Halloween. Kids are all amped up and excited and hopped up like crazy on candy. So you got to really be paying attention to everything going on around you.
Highway Patrol will be out in full force, making sure to stop drunk drivers and that the kiddos stay safe. Reporting in Bozeman, Morgan Davies, MTN News.
Thank you, Morgan. Montana Congressman Greg Gianforte in Deer Lodge today to get a first-hand look at how forest management policies are impacting not only the timber industry, but also wildfires. MTN's John Amy reports now on how a new bill in Congress could alter how the forests are managed.
Some members of Congress believe the country's forest management just isn't cutting it.
And I'm of a firm belief that if we don't start managing our forests, we're going to continue to see these catastrophic wildfires.
Gianforte invited his Republican colleague from Arkansas, Representative Bruce Westerman, to tour the Sun Mountain Lumber Mill in Deer Lodge Monday and visit federal forest land nearby where timber is harvested. The tour is an effort to drum up support for Westerman's Resilient Federal Forest Act that is up for a vote next week in Washington. The bill addresses bureaucracy and litigation issues that they claim impede federal forest management.
Managing forests gives us healthier forests, more wildlife, sporting opportunities, jobs, and less wildfires. So we need these mills.
Those in the timber industry welcome action that allows them to get more access to timber with less delay and less red tape.
We'd love to have a long-term, reliable supply of timber to keep the mill running. It's really difficult to make investment in a sawmill when you don't know what you've got ahead of you for the next 2 or 3 years.
Both congressmen blame what they call frivolous litigation, which they claim is impeding the forest management process.
It's important we get it passed. It gives us common sense guardrails to limit frivolous lawsuits that are preventing us from managing our forests.
Westerman, who is a forester, believes the gridlock has made the nation's forests susceptible to large wildfires.
I say we've loved our trees to death. We've got to start doing some serious management on these forests if we want to keep the environment healthy and quit putting hundreds of millions of tons of carbon in the atmosphere every year.
While the bill has passed out of the House in 2015 and 2016, it has yet to receive approval from the Senate. In Deer Lodge, John Amy, MTN News.
And John tells us that new Forest Management Act expected to come up for its first vote this coming Wednesday or perhaps Thursday.
A Western Montana jail has closed. Mineral County Commissioner shut down the county jail on Friday due to safety concerns. In a video of Friday's County Commission meeting, the Mineral County Attorney Ellen Donahue says one of the detention officers walked out on the job Thursday night, leaving just 2 remaining. Now, that jail housed up to 28 inmates. All of those inmates are being transported to other holding facilities. Not all of the inmates are Mineral County arrests. The county was paid more than $60 per day per inmate to house prisoners from places like Montana State Prison and Department of Corrections inmates. Sheriff Tom Bowers says between poor pay and difficult hours, attracting and retaining employees has been difficult. Now, authorities say they will continue to make necessary arrests and use the jail to temporarily hold Mineral County inmates until they can be transferred.
Still to come on tonight's 5:30 news. Well, if walls could talk, these Montana buildings would have some interesting tales to tell. Tonight we'll take you inside for some haunted tours.
And later in sports, Scott tells us why Montana native Josh Hustis stands to make a lot of NBA money by this time tomorrow.
And coming up in the weather, hey, it looks like it's going to be a little on the cloudy side. In fact, we're looking at cloudy and cooler conditions tonight. In fact, I think it'll go all the way down to cold. What about this week, though? I tell you what, if you've been waiting for some snow, this could be your week. Measurable snow about midweek. We'll have details coming up in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green.